how has culture influenced our language so far? How has culture changed the way we speak? And how has language influenced our culture? I won't be having this discussion alone. I have someone in the studio with me this morning. His name is Kolade Adenle. He is a linguist and a content blogger, a culture blogger, pardon me. Hello, Kolade.
Hi.
It's good to have you here this morning.
It's really good to be here.
All right, thank you very much. So let's start with what is the relationship between culture, and language?
Yeah, I think the first step into understanding the relationship is knowing what language really is. Language is a system of communicating, as you said. It's not necessarily that it should be in the oral form.
Sure.
There are signs, there are symbols, there are logos, there are displays that you see and it will communicate to you. There are actions too that you'd perceive. There are some actions that you see and you understand that this is what this person is talking about. So language basically is a way of communicating and passing information to people. Okay. Culture, however, is the way of life of people. Okay. That is how people behave. The language is inclusive, history, and basically how people behave in a community. So it is very keen that we look into the relationship between language and culture, because over the years, language has always been the way you identify that, okay, someone is from this tribe, someone is not from this tribe.
Everybody knows the sign, thumbs up.
Yeah.
It means you're giving compliment to someone, it means you're telling someone well done. But then I understand that in Bangladesh, it is actually an insult. And now that we know that the communication barrier is gradually being broken, when it comes to communication with people around the world, how do you communicate with such a person? It has already been ingrained in some of us that when you do thumbs up to people, it means well done. Thank you for a job well done. Now, someone is seeing it as an insult. Yeah. How do you bridge that gap?
I think the first step is understanding the person's culture.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure about China. Before you go to China, you must learn their language. Before they can give you visa, at least you must do some years of training, some years of in their native language, so that you would not get there and start misbehaving. Take, for instance, in the Yoruba culture now, if you see an elderly person and you prostrate, that's the right thing to do. But some people will see it, and some cultures will see it and be like, you should only prostrate to God. You are idolizing human beings. So I think you have to first understand people's culture. Okay. Know what things mean and know what you are supposed to, so that you not put yourself into trouble.
We know that Nigeria, we were colonized by the Britons, and then by the British, and then we kind of adopt their culture sometimes. And nowadays we have families that want their children to, do things the English way. They teach their children self-confidence, and self-confidence in some regard means when someone is talking to you, you look at them in the eye and know. And then because we're in Nigeria, we're in Africa, Africans see a child looking at an elderly person in the eyes as you being rude. Now, for a child who is Nigerian, how should it be balanced so that at the end of the day, the child won't look confused or won't be confused?
I think every culture have their good, and there's no totally bad culture. There's no totally good culture. What you do is you balance the two.
How do you balance?
You check the good ones. Okay. You definitely know the good ones. You can speak confidently without being rude. Okay. You can tell me the truth without being rude. But what I've learned, I've discovered, is that in the bid of saying we are civilized, we are just being very rude.
True.
We are just being very rude and unruly. You see there's no culture that respecting your elders is not instilled in it. There's no culture. Is it the Jewish culture? Is it the Indian culture? Everybody wants respect. Even
it is more ingrained in some cultures than other cultures.
Exactly, because of our background and the kind of leadership we had. We don't have leaders in Africa, we have rulers. Everybody wants you to respect them, even when they are doing the wrong things. So we have to balance it. That's why we are educated. There's something they call emotional intelligence. You have to understand that, okay, I want to tell you the truth, but because you are older than I am, there's a way and manner I have to say it.
Let's talk about civilization now.
Okay.
Now that civilization is developing, and of course we know that it is growing, what is the place of language acquisition in this development?
Everybody is going digital. It is gradually going to a point when we'll start seeing each other from afar. Like someone will be in the US and you'll be able to communicate with the person. Like you guys will be able to touch each other.
Yeah, we have the virtual reality communication.
So is gradually going to that point. What we now need to do as a serious culture is understand what is going on and then invest into getting your language into that space. If you check our phones now, the smileys on our phones, they are actually logograms from the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians. If you check this thing they did, the Sanskrit and the logogram they use, is almost the same thing. The smileys that we see, now we have stickers. Do you get? So those people are actually investing their time, knowledge, and money into making their language into what everybody wants to use. What are we doing in Africa? That should be the question. We don't even like our language. Is that bad? I
was coming to that.
You speak your language and someone is telling you are speaking vernacular. In Nigeria, you're speaking, a prince is speaking Yoruba, you're telling me you're speaking vernacular. Do you get? So you have to get to that point where we actually respect ourselves, respect our culture, understand that there's no culture that is bigger or better than any culture or language, and then invest in it and make it a global language too. Look at what BBC is doing now. They have BBC Yoruba, they have BBC Igbo. Very soon they'll start teaching us Yoruba. That's the bigger picture that people are not seeing.
So basically you're saying that we should make sure that we invest in our own language and getting it out there into the global community.
Export your language.
Okay. So now what is the importance of using language the right way, in order to respect people, to promote empathy and whatnot? What is the importance of using language? Now, I've been overemphasizing this, that language is no longer what we speak, it goes beyond what we speak now. It goes into how we behave when we are communicating with people. So how important is it?
I'm sorry for saying, I'm sorry but not sorry. The Yoruba would say, pele, olako, olabo. I can say pele.
There is a male version of sorry and there is a female version. Meaning there is a way you say sorry to someone and the person takes it somehow.
Means sorry.
Yeah, and you actually mean sorry, and there's a way you say sorry to someone and it has a cryptic message. Yes.
Do you get? So when you are communicating with people, you should include emotions. You should understand. You should let the person know what you are saying. If I want to be angry with you, if I want to say something angrily, there's a tone I use. I would use. If I'm saying something in a calm manner, if I'm saying I'm angry in a calm manner, you might not take me serious. But if I shout at you, you understand, oh, truly this person is angry. So I think we should understand what we want to say, what we want to do, and the emotions we want to pass across, the information we want to pass across, and then include the emotions that need to be included.
All right.
But then we have to be considerate when we are communicating with people. What you don't want people to say to you, don't say it to anybody. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants to be appreciated.
What is the psychological effect of language on you as the speaker, as the doer, as the,
You feel happy when you can communicate now. Even when you have ideas to communicate the ideas will be difficult for you. Do you understand? It's like trying to, with children, kids now, sometimes they feel some pains and they don't know how to explain. The only way they say it is they cry or they smile. That's the only way they can communicate. But over time, they get to learn, so they are always, that's why you see kids, when they start talking, they always want to talk, because it's like a confidence booster for them. So to the speaker, language and speaking and knowing how to speak very well is actually a very good thing. It's a confidence booster.
All right. Can we truly say we have optimized language in the world?
No, we can't. I won't accept that. I won't say we have.
Okay.
Because I believe the only way we can actually say that is when our kids can actually speak our language.
Okay.
Like, I have nephews and nieces. I'm not married. I don't have kids yet. But I have nephews and nieces that they don't speak their indigenous languages anymore. So to a language like Yoruba, I would say we are really lagging behind, and if care is not taken, we'll discover that we are already endangered.
Okay.
We just discovered that very soon the language will go extinct. And people are not really paying attention to it because we feel it's not possible. But if you look at history, if you look at languages like Aramaic, languages like Latin, languages like even Greek.
The Greek, yes.
There was a time they were the ones like ruling and dominating, but because they didn't keep up with like getting their children informed about their language and their culture, over time it got extinct. Now you have to go into archives to learn Latin.
Sure.
Someone will speak Latin, I will be like, are you speaking in tongues? So if you are not very careful, that's where most African languages are going. I respect the Hausas though. They know how important it is for them to keep their language. They don't joke with their language. But you see Yorubas and Igbos and some other cultures, you spend so much, spend millions to teach your children English, spend billions to teach your children Mandarin and Chinese.
Yes.
But your child cannot speak Yoruba. Your child is Bumi. But the child doesn't even know what Bumi means. Is that bad?
How do you suggest that we break into the global scene? Like you said, some of the African languages are gradually going into extinction.
Yeah.
And then I was reading about languages yesterday, and then I saw that there is a particular language that only 40 people can speak fluently at the moment, and of which in the next 5-10 years, I'm very sure the language, because those 40 people are definitely adults, the language will fizzle out. Now, we have application softwares that have different languages, but then you see that Nigerian languages are missing, or some African languages are missing. How do we break into this global scene to make our languages registered as well? Everything
boils down to individuals.
Okay.
You have to understand who you are, know who you are. I think that's a major problem we have. We have a problem of identity. We don't know who we are. You don't know you are Yoruba. You don't know you are from Oduduwa.
Okay.
Do you get? And colonization has really messed up our minds, messed up our brains. So the first step is understanding who you are, knowing how important your culture and your language is, and then working towards getting it out there. Is in your hands, it's in my hands. You can't leave it to someone. I'll take Reverend Samuel Ajayi Crowther as an example. He was a slave. He was transferred. He was supposed to be taken to the UK.
Okay.
But then they abolished slave trade. He was sent to Sierra Leone, Freetown. He developed himself. He actually learned English.
Okay.
But then he was sent back to Abeokuta.
All right.
And this man single-handedly developed alphabets for Yoruba, tones for Yoruba, phonemes for Yoruba, single-handedly. I want you to imagine far back then, there was no electricity, there was no computer. Even writing materials were not all that.
Yes. Tech.
So it was actually a very tough job for him. And it got to a point, I think, after 35 years of doing that, his house got burnt.
Oh.
And everything got burnt in the house. Imagine you've worked on something for over 35 years and it got burnt. Would you continue? Would you go back and do it? This man went back and did it. And that is why we have most Nigerian languages documented now.
Okay.
Most Nigerian languages are documented on the precepts of what he already did.
All right. So
you have to understand how important it is. That it's a matter of our future. It has to do with our future. It has to do with if we will still be existing in the next 10 to 20 or 100 years. Will there still be Yorubas in the next 100 years? If you want it to, then you include yourself. I appreciate what Google is doing. They are including
different languages.
Yes, Yoruba on Google. There's Hausa.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel if you don't really value what you have and make people understand how important it is, they will just take it as you have to first appreciate yourself before I can appreciate you.
To enjoy more interesting episodes of Tea or Coffee, then like and subscribe.
But then we have to be considerate when we are communicating with people. What you don't want people to say to you, don't say it to anybody. Everybody wants to be respected.